Hey, it's Callan from Authentic Lifestyle Design, and today I want to talk about why you should look after your body. And this sounds like common sense, right? That you should be looking after your body. But how many people do it? How many people drink too much, or abuse different substances, or don't exercise, or don't meditate, or other things like that? Most people. Most people do at least one of those things. Now, looking after your body is important because this is your vehicle. Your body is quite literally a temple, right? You're aware in your mind, you have an awareness in this body, it's tied to this body. So when this body dissipates, the current version of this awareness or the character you have built up through your life, that's going to fade out because it can no longer attach to this body because something's gone wrong, right? Or say you get injured, say you lose the use of your legs, or something else happens to you, or you're too obese and that obesity leads to a heart attack, right? Say these things happen and you don't die, then all of a sudden you're aware of this. This is your awareness, right? And all of a sudden you have a body that isn't in its optimal health as it previously was, and now you've got to live the rest of your life with that. So when I say to look after your body, I do mean it. It's important, all right? I'll show you an example of probably what isn't looking after your body, and I'm sure it's fun and I'm sure it's a cool thing to do, but yesterday I went to a rodeo and I was watching the bull riding, and it was really cool. Like, it's so entertaining to watch people riding them, but at the same time, it's so dangerous, right? I'll show you a clip now and then I'll come back. So I can't actually play the sounds because there's music in the background that's copyrighted. So I'm just talking over it. You can see he's riding the bull, and it's entertaining and cool to watch. But then he gets thrown off, and he's fine, and then he's running off, and the bull's chasing him, and he jumps up on the fence there to avoid it, and he's safe. But you can imagine what could have gone wrong there, and this is where I'm saying you look after your body. It's cool, but you can see that there could have been a consequence there if he was too slow. So as you can see, it was pretty wild, and then you can see the bull actually chases him, right? Again, really entertaining, right? But at the same time, dangerous, right? What would happen if he fell off and that bull trampled him? Or what would happen if it chased him and smacked him with the horn, right? It wouldn't be good. It would hurt him, right? It could even do permanent damage to his body, which wouldn't be good, because then he's going to age into a body that isn't really efficient, and that could be harmful, or it could even take his life. So when I say look after your body, it is important, right? You've got this one body, you've got this one life, and you've got to make the most out of it. You're writing your own story here, and risk is something to be understood. I mean, something like skydiving is actually really safe. Like, the chance of being hurt skydiving is minimal, right? But then say you get into a cage fight, or you go heli skiing, which is where you jump out of a helicopter and ski down hills, or these other adrenaline type sports, right, where there is serious risk of injuring yourself and injuring yourself to an extent where it could be a permanent injury. That's where you've got to pay attention, right? You've got to look at your life, and you've got to weigh out the pros and cons of anything you do, right? So for example, if that's drinking, you're going out drinking one night, then understand the potential risks of drinking too much, right? Which is, you're not as alert, you're not as focused, and all the rest. Or over a long period of time, say if you're drinking or smoking, you have to understand the risks that drinking and smoking could lead to various cancers and other various problems as you age, right? And you have to look at life like this, because you're probably, statistically, you're probably going to live to be 70, 80 years old, probably, maybe even older, right? And how you age can vary differently, because we all age, right? But you see some old people that, some given luck of the draw, but some lifestyle choices that are really frail old things, and they walk around or struggle to walk around, and they're in wheelchairs or whatever it is, and their health's bad, right? But you see other people that are 70, 80 years old that are just kicking it. They're actually, they're smashing it. They're fit. I've seen a lot of these through karate. You go over to Okinawa, and there is people in their 70s, some even in their 80s, and they still move. They're still fit. And that's amazing, right? And that's, again, why you look after your body. You treat your body like it is a temple. which is hard to do, right? No one's perfect. But that means you eat good food, you exercise regularly, you keep your mind healthy, and a bunch of other things. And you don't smash your body too hard, you don't put yourself in unnecessarily dangerous situations, right? So, something like bull riding, it might be fun, but and I'm not saying don't do it, but I'm saying if you do it, you have to understand the risks, which I'm sure they do, and you have to understand, is that sport or that activity worth the potential consequences that could happen to you? Because obviously there is things that could happen and go wrong, and you could get hurt, okay? And this is sort of like me being soft to like being a parent, because I know when I was a kid I used to be a climber, right? And if I climbed a tree, it was always my challenge was always to get to the top of the tree, which meant I was super high and, sometimes taking risks that were dangerous. And if I'd fallen out of one of those trees, I would have really, really hurt myself because, I could be 15, 20 meters off the ground if it was a huge tree, which I did plenty of times. So you do have to be careful. You have to look after your body. This is a part of lifestyle design as well, right? This goes under the health section of my pillars. Again, they're time, money, relationships, health, environment, and purpose. This goes under mainly health. And because if you do something that's silly that you didn't have to do, if you make a fundamental mistake, be that whatever it is, say you get blackout drunk and you pass out and you hit your head, or, anything, and that's a mistake that you have to accept once it happens, You could make a mistake that could cost you various things, or say you're really obese and then at 60, 70 you have a heart attack and you spend the rest of your life, or a stroke, and you spend the rest of your life disabled. Now that could have been avoided if when you were younger you ate all the right foods. And by that respect and by that insight, you got to think about the old version of you. So you live for the now, of course, but you also, if you plan on living to grow old, you have to make sure that you're building the right body that's going to sustain you as you age. And that means doing fundamental things. Stretching's really important, right? Because if you don't stretch your whole life, by the time you're old, you'll be so stiff, your hips will be stiff and your knees will be stiff and your back will be sore and all these other things that you could ideally potentially avoid if you stretch now. And plenty of other things, right? Setting yourself up. It's the same thing as how I've been talking about you set yourself up financially. You don't just spend all your money, but you save some money. Same thing with your health. It's you don't just waste all your vitality while you're young, and you don't destroy your body in research. Running, if you run your whole life and you run crazy distances, as you age, that can have effects on your knee joints and all your hips and all sorts of things. So you don't live out of fear. Don't live out of not doing things because you could age badly. You look at fighters. Fighters always have problems. Boxers and football players and stuff, they have a reputation of having concussions, and that can lead to health problems later in their lives. So you have to keep all of this into consideration, because if you want to design the ideal life, that's obviously the ideal life now and in the near future, but you've also got to look into the far future, and you've got to look at what the old version of you is going to be like. And there's no guarantee, you could be the healthiest, fittest person ever and you could die and whatever. Like my karate sensei, or my original karate sensei, was probably, he's in his early 60s. He was one of the fittest 60-year-olds I knew. But he got cancer and he died. And he was fit and he was healthy and he was driven and ideally quite a successful guy, right? But he still got cancer and died. So there's no guarantee. But you are putting the chips in your favor. You are increasing the chance that you'll grow old, and you'll grow old well. All right? By not doing these things, don't abuse substances. Make sure you exercise. Make sure you keep your mind active and healthy. And so many other things. Because, again, pretend that you work at a nursing home and the old version of you is one of the patients, right? And how are you going to look after that old man or old woman? How are you going to help them, right? Because you help them now. You're constructing that individual. And this is where lifestyle design comes into it. It's you could become old and be successful and happy and have money and have awesome people in your life and all these other things. Or you could grow old and be alone and live in a place you hate and have terrible health and all these other things. It's not completely, obviously, there's chance and luck, but you can really influence the chance of growing old in a better environment than if you don't do those things, right? So, yeah, just a bit of a warning that every action does have a reaction, and every action has an equal reaction, or all your actions do have consequences. So if you abuse your body now, that's going to lead to damage later, right? You don't brush your teeth, then your teeth will fall out at some point. Basic fundamentals like that. And they're so important. They're really important, which is why I'm stressing it and why I'm making this video. So if you gained any value from this video, feel free to give it a like, subscribe to the channel, comment your opinion if you think I make sense or if you think I'm just full of it, and share it with anyone you think it might help. Someone that is potentially abusing themselves in one way or another, that this video could assist. I mean, that's the whole idea of this channel, is I want to help people design the most ideal, awesome life they can. And I'll be doing that indefinitely. So, yeah. Enjoy the rest of your day.